Birds of Prey issue 3, Legacy number 201 by my count. We have Kelly Thompson writing with Leonardo Romero on the art. So, yeah, we were just getting to Themyscira last issue, or at least getting to the plan that was going to take them onto the island. We actually get more of that here. Although not before the tease of the... whatever this thing is, it's going to possess sin, right? This demon or whatever it is. We actually get that possessing another random Amazon, and basically seeing the sort of the almost exorcist looking like face on this woman saying, "This vessel is unworthy." So it's setting up this idea that this entity is going around Themyscira looking for the right host. So I really like this actually. It was I love that panel at the bottom of the first page of just being like, something scary is coming. Yeah, it's ominous. That's a good word.
Yeah. But yeah, let me just Leonardo Romero on the art. It's giving me Kirby vibes. So in this book with Barda and the Amazons and all this other stuff, the kind of squarey, like, I don't want to say the characters are boxy, but there's a boxiness to them that's reminiscent of Jack Kirby's art to me. Really made this a pleasure to read. Just the breakdowns, the way that the characters interact. It gave it this kind of old school DC vibe to, a lot of these new characters, right? Zealot's here. All these characters that aren't, outside of Barda, aren't Jack Kirby. So just when we turn that page and it's got all the purples and the pinks and all of that type of stuff, it just, everything looks great.
It's also reminded me a little bit of the original Birds of Prey run that Dixon did, which honestly, reading these issues has been making me want to go back and keep reading that in some form.
How far did you make it? Do you remember?
Issue 9. So, to be clear though, there's like a whole trade's worth of content before issue 1. So it's actually a bit more than it sounds, because there's like a 4-issue mini, 2 or 3 big one shots, and then issue 1. So it's a little bit more than what it sounds like. But
got you. Yeah, that's a blind spot. Like I'm aware of it with the whole Babs and Canary and Huntress of it all.
Oh, Huntress it's not even like it's just Babs and Dinah for that early stuff.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure when Huntress does come on full time, but it's not in that first at least couple of years.
That should be a thing I should look into, see if my shop has the collections.
Anywho, Harley's got this crazy plan for the multi-hide inside a megalodon to get onto the island, because all of the teleportation techniques they can't use because the boom tube's too loud, and then Meridian's thing they can't use either. So
it's too wonky, right? It's
too wonky.
She explains here that she can teleport if she can. It's kind of like Nightcrawler, right? Where Nightcrawler can teleport to where as far as he can see. That's kind of what Meridian can do, but it's a little bit wonkier because it's dealing with dematerialization and all that stuff. And
also, I'm not sure if she can take much of a passenger list with her. Like, it sounds like it might just be like maybe she can grab one person, but that's maybe a bit it. But yeah, so there's some more banter here, which is really enjoyable. There's a funny moment where Harley's got about to call Barda a big bitch in a sort of endearing way. And Barda kind of says, "Watch it," and she says, "Bisexual icon," referring to herself. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, Thompson's really good at the banter stuff. That's what I enjoyed over in Marvel, reading like was it West Coast Avengers? Yeah, with Kate and all that. It's very similar in that banter. That's fun to read.
Yeah, and hell, they're all saying, but King Shark's a villain. Like, he might. What if he does something and he's like, "Hey, I know what sort of trouble will come down on me if I get any use killed." Everyone's favorite Batman's here. I love that he referred to Cass as everyone's favorite Batman. That I got a little pop out of that.
Where's the lie though?
Yeah. So yeah, this is how they get onto the island, and they split up. Canary thanks Harley for a crazy plan, but it worked. So they split up, although not before Zealot does something really weird, where she cuts her hand open and puts in a worm,
some kind of worm thing. Yeah, so it looks like she's doing like a Bushido ritual, right? Like, you've seen this in samurai movies, almost like a prayer before the battle. But when it really gets into the intricacy, I always mess up that word. I don't know why I try to say it. But when it gets into the details of it, yeah, she's cutting like her hand or putting the worm in there, right? And then rubbing it on sand. And they ask her what she's doing, and it's like, yeah, it's. I told you guys I wasn't going to kill any Amazons, and this is going to ensure that I don't. I can't die while we're here, and I can't kill anybody. And in order to show how she can't kill anybody, what does she do, Pete?
She stabs Harley through the stomach with her big sword. And obviously it's a shocking moment at first, but then she pulls out the blade and there's no blood, and it's like, oh, it just magically went through you like it was nothing. So it's like, okay. Like,
it still hurt though. Like, so that was a cool moment too, and it also, you know, it is putting in like kind of hurdles storytelling wise on how they're going to get through this without bloodshed, right? Because they're not here to go to war with the Amazons, right? They're here to save Sin. Yeah, so I did like this mechanism.
They're trying to be stealthy as best they can. Harley and Dinah go, because they don't know where Sin's being kept, so they all kind of split up into pairs to go look. And Harley and Sin sort of stealthy take down a couple Amazons. There's a great moment. Barda and Cass are going through kind of the jungle area of the island, and Barda fights one, but there's a great moment after this where they're just walking through the jungle, and Barda, or as Cass like holds up her hand, like, oh, there's something here, like I can sense something, and sure enough, we get this kind of forest spirit that kind of is flying around and is made of vines. Yeah,
it's got like a mask, but it's also the same word bubbles as whatever possessed the Amazon in the beginning. It's the same font in the black word bubbles. So I'm wondering if it's one of these kind of, I wouldn't even call this a nature spirit. Whatever one of these spirits are, is this the one that's going around possessing? Because it takes Barda's her, what's it called, the rod
or boomstick.
Yeah, it takes it from her and then leaves them on their way. So that's a weird thing.
And then similar, another part of the forest area, you've got Meridian with Zealot, and Zealot does like a sort of like, be quiet, we're being watched, almost like in Jurassic Park.
It's Muldoon.
We're being hunted. She's watching us, and sure enough, there's an Amazon in the trees who jumps out. So they all get their own little fight sequences. Zealot, does quite well, and she's like, Meridian says, "Hey, you don't even need that thing that stops you from being killed. You did just fine there." And she points out that it's amazing how different your decisions are when you know you can't die, and that's a kind of an interesting little thing to think about. But Canary and Harley find Sin, who's just sort of chilling in a bedroom. It's not like she's a prisoner; she's just kind of chilling. But Canary's like, "No, we have to go." She's happy to see her. It's a nice big hug. But then the alarm starts going off, and this is where one of the reasons why they were being so stealthy is they didn't want to have a confrontation with Wonder Woman. So Canary immediately calls Oliver and says, "Hey, you have to stall Diana." Stall her, please.
And this is why I love Ollie.
Yes.
Ollie is 100% ride or die, going like, Diana's my friend, but in order to help my girlfriend, I will fire arrows at probably the most lethal member of the Justice League and hope for the best. Like, Ollie's my kind of dude.
Yes.
That's all I got.
And apparently Constantine got him a batch of magic arrows, which are supposed to knock down Wonder Woman, right? And he hits her with it, right? And he even points out it was a miracle to even hit one shot off at her. And she's fine, though. She starts, like, hunting Oliver, and Oliver's like, oh, shit. So he's, like, trying to, like, swing across the city. Wonder Woman uses her tiara to cut his rope, and he crash lands on a car, and she's like, Oliver, why are you doing this? And he fires all the magic arrows he has, and they're all just like doing nothing. They're doing silly things until he eventually hits her with one. He just sort of stabs her in the shoe with one, and it sort of turns her into a bunch of pink butterflies, and she flies away. And I'm like, did that delay her, or did that actually help her get to Themyscira quicker? Because because at this point, Diana kind of realizes that this is all a distraction. She's just, because she knows there's an alert at Themyscira. And Oliver's just trying to distract her. So the big cliffhanger of the issue is that Diana comes smashing in the wall in Themyscira. There's bricks flying everywhere, and she's like, birds, we need to have some words. And that's your big cliffhanger. I think what I noticed here is that Diana's hair in this last page looked very 80s to me.
It looks like George Perez.
It does. It looks old school Wonder Woman to me.
I love it.
I like that.
I also love Dinah's stuff here, her captions, where it says, everyone is obviously afraid of Batman, they should be. Despite everything, everyone is also afraid of Superman, as they should be. Everyone loves Diana, and they should. They should also be very, very afraid. And that's where it ends. I just love that whole vibe. Like, again, it's ominous. You know, we all know that they're probably going to talk it through, but Diana's pissed. And these words, there's going to be a small fight, right? Like,
yeah, I do like that the person they're scared of is another woman. I like that the person they're trying to save from Themyscira is a woman, and even the demon or whatever it is that's tried to possess Sin feels like it might also be female. Not that it always has to be women that are the villains and whatnot in Birds of Prey, but I do think it's a really cool, strong statement to start out with a story where the only male character really we've had, well, with a guest stint from Constantine, I suppose, but it's really just Oliver who's been kind of...
Oliver, King Shark, right? He popped in there.
Oh, King Shark popped in, true.
You know,
but what I'm trying to say is the prominent players are all women, and I think that's an intentional choice with this first arc. I'm sure, you know, an arc or two down the line we'll have some evil asshole dude who's the villain, because it's very easy to make a villain out of an asshole, but... yeah, I just think that's kind of nice here. It's like part of why they've made Wonder Woman so intimidating here is because the reverence the others have for her, because they know shit. Even Barda, when Barda's talking about her early on, and someone says, hey, couldn't you take Wonder Woman in a fight? And she's like, maybe, but if she's in a particularly bad mood, probably not. It's like, when the mood she'll probably be in when the alarm goes off saying that we've all invaded Themyscira. Yeah, okay, yeah, let's try and avoid that.
Barda was one of the better female Furies of Apocalypse, right? Like, you know, when she defected because of Scott, you know, that was a big loss for Apocalypse. So for her saying that about Diana too, it's also building her up as this, you know, almost like a force of nature. And we don't get that a lot with Wonder Woman. So, and also just not to bring it back to Ollie, but the part that really made me laugh is he's doing the zipline thing, and just his dialogue is, if it's working, I'll be fine. If it's working, I'll be fine. If it's working, I'll be fine. And then you see the tiara cut it. It's not working as he's plummeting. I just the pacing there, that's on the letterer and the art and the story, all really coming together. So...
Yeah, it's quite funny. He's the joke of the scene, and I think as far as layouts goes, that might be the best start of the issue. Is that whole sequence of Diana looking up, him trying to like go away in the zip line, and then like just the way the panels play out and like the close up of the eyes, and I think it all works really well. It's paced very well, I guess I'm trying to say.
So, but yeah, very, very good book. Leonardo Romero's art too. I am feeling those Kate Bishop stories that I fell in love with during the pandemic, going through and reading all of the Kate Bishop that I could. And so seeing Romero draw all these characters from DC that I do like is also nice. So glad we have this team working on this book.
Yeah, give Kelly a second of the ongoing DC. Go on, do it. Do it, you cowards.
Anyway. Yeah, that's why I want to tell him you won't. You know, just challenge him, throw the gauntlet down.
All right, what are you giving Birds of Prey issue 3? I'm
going to give this a 9. I really enjoyed it.
Ooh, I don't know if I'll go quite that high. I'll say 8.5. I think it's a really great issue. I enjoyed the splitting up out of the pairs, the banter. I think they did a good job teasing the scariness of the villain. You know, whoever's trying to possess Sin. That was quite a cool, foreboding intro, and good art and great cliffhanger ending. Really propping up Wonder Woman as the main woman, I guess, like the main big bitch of the DC universe to say what Harley almost said.
I said, what was it's kind of the same vibe that they had for Emily Blunt in, what was that movie? Not Live, Die, Repeat.
Edge of Tomorrow,
Edge of Tomorrow, thank you.
Yeah.
I just remember the tagline. It was kind of the same kind of vibes, where there's all these hushed whispers, and then we finally see her, you know.
Yeah. It propped her up really nice. It was good stuff.